So I have this question and it says find the length of the side labeled x. So our task is to determine how long the side of the triangle is that is labeled x. So the first thing we'd want to do is to label our triangle. And remember, we're labeling it in relation to an angle. So I know that the longest side of the triangle is the hypotenuse, which is this one. And just to check, it's supposed to be across from the 90-degree angle. So I'm going to label this 8 centimeters, HYP, and that's shortened for hypotenuse. Now, we know that between the adjacent and the hypotenuse, the angle is formed. So here's the hypotenuse, here's the angle, and the next line connecting them or forming the angle is this one. So this top line is the adjacent that we'll call ADJ for short. ADJ. All right. So the last one is going to be the opposite. And the opposite is across from the angle. So this angle is on the right. So it's going to be the line that's on the left, which is this one. So X is going to be our opposite. So in other words, the task is to find out the length of the opposite side of this triangle. So which ratio are we going to use? Let's test it. Remember the three ratios that we have? We have sine, which is opposite over the hypotenuse. We have cosine or cos, which is just the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. And we have tan, which is the opposite divided by the adjacent. So we're going to go through and we're going to check to see which ratio it is that we're going to use. Look at it. We were given the hypotenuse. Notice that hypotenuse is 8 centimeters. So the ratio that we're going to use must have hypotenuse. So this has hypotenuse, this has hypotenuse. So straight away we know we're not going to use tan. Good. We are trying to find the opposite, right? The opposite. So the ratio we're going to use must have the opposite in there. This one has the opposite, this now have the opposite, this one has the opposite. And we're done, so we're never going to use tan. So which ratio has both the opposite, which is what we're looking for, and the hypotenuse, which was what was given? It's sine. So we're going to be using the sine ratio. Let's check it out now. So the sine ratio says sine of an angle is equal to its opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Let's look at our diagram and pick up some information. So, do we have an angle? The angle of interest is this angle right up here. See it here? Does it have a measurement? Yes. That measurement is 27 degrees. So we're going to take that 27 degrees and substitute it into this formula. So we're going to have sine, taking out theta, and I'm going to be putting that 27 degrees is equal to, now we need the opposite. According to the diagram, see, I'm referring to the diagram. What is the measurement of the opposite? It's x. So I'm going to put x to replace that opposite. Follow the formula. It says the opposite should be divided by the hypotenuse. So I have to search the diagram to find the hypotenuse. What is the measurement of the hypotenuse? 8. So I'm going to divide x by 8. So now all we need to do is to solve for the value of x. Now watch me. What is the opposite of dividing by 8? See, dividing by 8. The opposite of dividing by 8 is multiplying by 8. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side too. So if I multiply this right side by 8, I should multiply this right side also by 8. Good. So this multiply by 8 here cancels the divide by 8 here, leaving us with just x on the right. So we now need to calculate what the right side is equal to. So I'm going to put into my calculator 8 multiplied by sine, and this is the sine button. See here? It says sine. When I commit the sine, so it is sine. So you press sine, and we need to put in at 27 degrees now. 27. Press the equal button, and see, it is 3.63 to 2 decimal places. So the length of x, the opposite, is going to be 3.63. And remember, the units that this triangle is measured in is centimeters. So to clean it all up, it's going to be 3.63 centimeters.